Bob on the floor, midweek, AMA 2016. Let me tell you first how much of a pleasure it is to be here. I grew up in model aviation 18,000 flight hours ago, and being here and seeing some of this stuff is a ghost from the past, and in a really good way.
I think we all have that type of situation. You know, I've been a modeler since I was 7 years old. I'm 70 years old today. It's been an exciting world for quite a few years.
Now you have an extremely interesting job. You are, to a certain extent, responsible for leading what I believe to be, to most of aviation, the entry level to the world of flight. With all the issues that AMA and model aviation faces right now, talk about a hot seat.
Certainly, it's been a very interesting period in the last few months. However, it's a challenge, and the Academy and myself accept that challenge.
Is AMA equipped right now to do the job that's necessary to fight an FAA that seems to be more about control and less about sensibility?
You'd be amazed how well we are equipped. Let's just say we have multiple legal companies, multiple publicity companies, plus we have our in-house staff. We're fairly well equipped to handle the situation.
How much of a surprise has the last couple of months been to AMA? This swath of overt control certainly is not what we expected.
It's not necessarily what we expected. However, pressure from sources above the FAA, I think it's even above the DOT. I think those pressures generated the fact that FAA had to do something. They had to appease the hierarchy or the bureaucracy, and so be it.
What would you say to the FAA administrator about what AMA thinks is the proper way to regulate or otherwise oversee model operations within the national airspace systems?
I think you have to look at what Congress handed down with 336 or Section 336 of the federal reauthorization. If you look at that, that kind of dictates to the government the responsibility of said activities and so forth. The Academy has been in existence almost 8 decades. We have an outstanding safety record, far above any other group that is aviation oriented. We have the experience, we have the knowledge, we have the rules, we have everything it takes for the Academy to work as a community-based organization and satisfy the needs of the aero modeler within the United States.
On a little bit more somber note, this requirement for registration of all model aircraft basically above a half a pound or so, I guess 250 grams, do you see that as being something that could create real problems for future growth in model aviation if those regs stand?
Let's just say I think it could be worked into a very positive situation. However, I question whether the government has understood privacy rules or the need for privacy. The specific rule right now says that anyone 13 years of age or older has to register. I'm a grandfather. I have a granddaughter. She's 14. I'm sorry, but I'm not really interested in having her data displayed on the internet because she's registered with the FAA. That being said, could her registration be accommodated? Certainly. It could also be in the fact that the Academy has that registration already. We do require that the AMA number be affixed to the vehicle. I don't think the Academy would have any hardship honoring a court order to find out who owned a specific vehicle. That way, at least the idea of privacy could be maintained. I don't know how many of your audience is aware, but if I know your first name, your last name, and I put the letters FAA after that and I put it into Google, there's a lot of data that's wide open to the public. A 70-year-old guy, I'm sorry, I don't have a lot to hide, but I do protect the youngster. I think everyone deserves the right to make their own choice as to whether they register or not. I also look at the fact that I represent 185,000 members of the Academy. I have the authority to sit down and negotiate with said people, whether it be FAA or whatever, I could sit down and negotiate and generate the Academy's opinion. The FAA, every time we've sat down with them, either there's been legal issues where they couldn't talk, all they could do is listen, or if they did sit down to talk, they had an array of lawyers sitting behind them that were a problem. I don't know why we can't, let's say, take the head of the FAA, the head of the AMA, let's sit down and talk. Let's resolve the problem. The legal issues to me are minute compared to the logic at being able to sit down and intelligently resolve a situation.
Aero-TV is brought to you by
Now certified, Aspen Avionics single-band ADS-B, ATX-100, and ATX-100G transceivers are the next-gen ADS-B solution that provides the features pilots need while keeping flyaway costs low. Check it out now at aspenavionics.com.